Hey guys, welcome back. Scott here with a new beer dissection video for you. What I have today is from Sand City Brewing Company, which is out of Northport, Long Island here in New York, as well as I believe Lindenhurst. They have a brew room. I could be mistaken there. I always seem to want to say Bayshore, but I think maybe I got it right tonight. There's Southdown Breakfast Stout. Okay, and I'm sure I'll have it over my shoulder. I always say, like, why am I shoving in the middle of the camera here? Northport, it's coming at 7.5% alcohol. Southdown Breakfast Stout. And again, another very attractive can. I was lucky, my wife and son and I were over at my local beer store and they picked up some phenomenal beers. I just recorded a video a couple hours ago about one of their double IPAs, and they really produce a lot of great beers. So, you know, the Breakfast Stout, we think of Founders Kentucky Breakfast Stout, sometimes aged in oak barrels. I don't think this one is. I think it's just a stout. I don't see anything that has much going on about, you know, bourbon, you know, oak barrels and things like that. But I will try to look it up afterwards. Sometimes I look these beers up beforehand before I do the video. But a lot of times I just want to do these videos just cold. Just taste the beer, open it up. If I perceive the same thing everyone else does, fantastic. If not, you know, that's just my perception. But this one does not say anything about oak aged barrels, which I think, you know, be honest with you, I think oak aging in bourbon barrels is a little overrated. I know some of you will start yelling and screaming at me because of the, what's the other one I'm thinking of? The other Founders Breakfast Stout, not Breakfast Stout, but anyway, I don't want to digress, but you know what I'm talking about, those of you that were already putting words in my mouth. So Southdown Breakfast Stout. All right, so let's check this out and see what it's all about. I got my regular TQ glass here, which I'm really loving, and let's see what this is all about. I just did a beer face-off of the Kentucky Breakfast Stout and why am I drawing a blank? North Coast All Rasputin. It was a beer face-off video, and I think I've done also standalone videos with those beers also. Well, let's take a look at this. A nice light brown, half-inch to inch, dense head. We're getting nice tight bubbles on top. Really looking good. The color is dark brown to black. It's pretty clear because I can see a little bit through the bottom. There's a little bit amber hue there. You may not be able to see it on the camera on your end, but looks very good. But you would, you know, expect on most stouts. Remember, with stout, they seem to, you know, some will argue about the grist. You know, when I was getting into home brewing, they would talk about stouts, and the big difference between stouts and porters was that stouts would use roasted barley. That's really not true, but you know, it's not really true now, but I find that stouts will use a little more roasted barley, black patent, than say chocolate malt and things like that. And porters maybe, you know, again, this is my experience from my home brewing recipes and other brewers' recipes. So, but it's not a thing. It's not like something you see roasted barley, oh, it's definitely a stout. It's just one of those things, like the trend always seems to be a little bit heavier handed with the roasted barley with stouts versus porters, okay, which may be a little heavier with chocolate malts and things like that. But I don't want to split hairs, especially on a video that has nothing to do with that. But anyway, let's take a sniff of the aroma. Ooh, very nice, jeez. Chocolate, light coffee roast, light to medium coffee roast, but like you're getting like chocolate, you know, dark chocolate, fresh dark chocolate, some nuts, like light roasted nut, like walnut, toffee. This is smelling phenomenal, guys. Wow. There's a little bit of like a caramel smell too. Nice roast, nice nut aromas, chocolate. You know, I wouldn't go as far as espresso roast. It's getting there, but it's definitely a medium roasted coffee, things like that. Hop wise, again, this is not going to be a hop forward beer. I don't think I get much Yeah, yeah. If there's a slight herbal component, but there's not much hop aroma here. It's mainly malt driven aromatics, but phenomenal. It's really good. I'm like laughing because it's actually ranking up there in my perception here of one of the top stouts I've had recently. All right, guys. So cheers, Prost. Wow. Whoa. Medium full bodied, which you would expect. I'm getting nut, the roasted walnut, toffee, good coffee, kind of a medium, to dark chocolate. Almost like a brickle, like a kind of like you have that butter brickle type of thing. The toffee, the nuttiness, really good. No alcoholic warmth. I mean, 7.5%. We're starting to hit that wheelhouse. I would start feeling it. Like I said, medium to full bodied. But again, almost like there's like the toffee. It's kind of like a toffee to butterscotch type of taste to it. Really good. And then as the aftertaste comes in, you're kind of left with the roast. Medium dark coffee. I'm suspecting they used a nice generous amount of black malt, black pat malt, roasted barley in this. Thankfully, I don't think they're using any lactose. That would give you that kind of residual sweetness. It has some residual sweetness, but it is drinking somewhat dry. Wow. I'm trying to pick up, between the nut, the toffee. It's almost like drinking like dessert, even though it's not a sweet stout or a milk stout with the sweetness. It's a little drier than that. But God, guys, this is like really good. I would say this is better than, I would always get this before I get the Founders KBS, okay? It's a little less bodied than the famous North Coast Old Rasputin, but it has that same type of chewiness to the body, nuttiness, roast and coffee level of Old Rasputin. Man. That's really good. I mean, it just, the balance between the coffee and the bitterness is actually pretty, moderate to pronounced to offset some of the malt here. It's really nice. Again, even on the aftertaste, that chocolate, again, that note, that the nutty roast, little toffee, but not cloyingly sweet. It's really, it's a little maybe it's a little thinner bodied than the Old Rasputin, which is not a knock to this. This is like really good. But as I'm sitting here, it's just kind of like chocolate nuts. Like you took a nut, maybe threw in, dipped in some, dark chocolate and took it in and took like a coffee bean in your mouth. That's kind of like what you're getting. You're getting all the great things about stouts in this one beer. If you wanted to say there was a little dark fruit, maybe you get a little fig, but this is really exceptional. And I've been really impressed with Sand City. I've done a bunch. If you go on my beer dissection, I've done a bunch of Sand City beers, and I don't know any of the brewers, so I'm not an infomercial for them, but they're really putting out exceptional beer. I really have to say. So anyway, guys, today's beer dissection. Actually, before I get to that, grade wise, Overall enjoyability, drinkability, it's another A plus from these guys. Comparing it to many other stouts I've had, especially if I was comparing it to Founders, I would keep it at the A plus level. If I kept it to, say, Old Rasputin, maybe I bring it down a tiny bit, but it's really an exceptional A plus beer at the very least. And if I had this, this is, craft beer. So like sometimes you don't get it readily at your local beer store. I got it at mine here. My wife and my younger son got it, and it's outstanding. If they made this and it was as prevalent as other stouts, I wouldn't pass this up over other beers all the time. Since I do a beer channel, I always look for new material. But if I saw this over the KBS Founders, I no doubt I would take this over that. All right, guys. So today's beer dissection is from Sand City Brewing Company, Southdown Breakfast Stout. Okay, it's a phenomenal stout. Nuts, toffee, chocolate, roast, smooth, no astringency, the bitterness I said is pronounced, but that's pretty much it. So anyway, guys, till the next beer dissection video in general, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.